Plaintiff Melissa Miller dated the defendant, and she claimed she gave birth to his child while she was incarcerated. Melissa says they broke up because the defendant neglected her while she was in prison, and she's suing him for failing to pay for childcare expenses. Defendant Michael Hamilton has doubts about fathering Melissa's child because she admitted to cheating on him. Therefore, Michael petitioned the court for a paternity test, and he's countersuing for emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
You're suing your ex-boyfriend for $3,000, alleging he owes this money for a breach of contract.
Yes, sir.
And you're countersuing for $3,000 for emotional distress, and you've petitioned the court for a DNA test.
Yes, sir.
All right, start with you, ma'am.
So Michael and I met when we were in junior high. We reconnected when I was 18 in 2008. We started dating. I got pregnant in 2009 and had our child in September of 2010. I was incarcerated at the time for a violation of probation. So that's why Michael's not on the birth certificate.
About when you got out?
He just never went. I've told him we can go. It's only $20.
But you said the only reason he hadn't signed is because you were locked up.
Yes.
So when you got out, that reason was gone.
You're right.
So there had to be more than one reason.
Okay, so the other reason, Your Honor, is because he just wouldn't go with me. I mean, it's very simple. You just fill out a piece of paper and pay $20. And
how long were you incarcerated?
About a year and a half.
Beginning?
In June of 2010, and I was released in January of 2012.
Okay. All right. And during the time you were incarcerated, were you all having conversations?
Nope.
Why not?
He did not write me. He did not visit me. He did not send me any money.
Did you think he was the father at that time?
Oh, I know he is.
Okay. Why didn't you reach out to him?
I did not have an address for him.
Okay. So you all never spoke until when?
I was released.
Mm-hmm. How did the interaction occur?
So I was released. I was in St. Pete at the time. I got released. My cousin, who had been taking care of my son while I was incarcerated, came, picked me up, took me and my son back home to where we were from, Brevard County in Florida. And he came over to the house, my other cousin's house, where I was. He had contacted me through my cousin Jennifer. He's seen him for about 15 minutes, tried to get back in a relationship with me, and that was not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So,
and there was no debate over whether the child was his at that time?
Never.
Okay. And he didn't make an effort to see the child thereafter?
No.
Okay. Let me hear from you.
We and Melissa was together in 2008, and we had intercourse together. And I found a condom in her.
You what?
Found a condom in her.
In her?
Yes, sir. I asked about it.
Well, she shouldn't have got pregnant.
He's laughing. I'll laugh.
Whether you use protection or not, there was some protection already in there. You already protected. That's unbelievable, sir. Does that happen?
Yes, sir. And I asked her about it. She told me the truth. She was like, well, yeah, I did something with a former friend.
Earlier that day?
Yes, sir.
I just never heard of it. I've heard of a lot of things.
You have.
Me neither.
This is one time I don't think I'm a know-it-all.
Yes, sir. I never heard of it.
People say, Judge, you think you know it all. Everything, every subject that come at, you think you just know everything. I know nothing about what you're saying. So she admitted to being with someone else hours prior to you.
Yes, sir. And I forgave her too.
Well, you tell me.
That's not true.
None of that?
That's not true. When we first started dating, we were,
No, we're talking about this
that
specific
didn't happen.
scenario.
I don't know where he got that from.
He did not find a condom in you?
Absolutely not.
All right, so when you mentioned it to her, she said she had done it before.
Yes, sir.
And what did you say?
I forgave her.
You said, okay, I forgive you.
Yeah, we moved on with our relationship.
And moved on to what?
With our relationship.
You said, okay, I forgive you. Let us resume our activities.
Yes, sir. And
y'all did.
Yes, sir, we did.
She says you're making all of this up, and it does sound unreasonable.
That's ridiculous.
I don't think you're that nasty, sir. That sounds pretty nasty. I'm playing with this a little because I don't believe you, sir. I believe you're being ridiculous. It sounds like a ridiculous story, and your excuse on how you resolved it sounds ridiculous. I don't believe you're that nasty. So go ahead. Now get that nonsense out the way. What else you want to tell me about the relationship?
Well, during our relationship, she did pills and, she had a miscarriage where we lost like 2 of our kids.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And, it was just a lot of stress. And it was going on in our relationship.
When and why did y'all break up?
We broke up because the thing in prison.
Why didn't you stay with her and wait on her, stay loyal to her after you had been with her, suffered miscarriages together? She goes in for only a year.
I did, yes, Your Honor.
You just said something different.
She broke up with me. I never broke up with her.
Why did she tell you she was breaking up with you?
She never told me.
So she went to prison and you never heard from her again?
Nah, I wrote her
And you
letters.
never tried to reach her?
Yeah, she knew what my address was.
Did you try to reach her?
Yes, sir.
And what happened? The mail
She
came
knew my
back?
address. Yeah, the mail came back and everything. She never tried to reach out to me.
So you sent it to the jail in her name, and it came back?
It came back.
Well, she wasn't in jail, was she?
Yeah, I don't know what she was. My mom, even my mom.
You see how everything you tell me is unreasonable? Did you try and go and visit her physically?
I don't have a vehicle, and at the time, I
Oh,
was
you didn't have a
relying-
vehicle. That's why you couldn't go and visit
Right.
your girlfriend.
I was down south, and she was up like doing Northway.
How far is that apart? Hour in
Hours.
time.
Hours.
1 hour.
About 4 hours.
4 hours.
I was down south.
Okay, now people drive 11, 12, 15 hours to see their loved ones, let alone their woman.
I never had a vehicle in my whole life, and I'm 30.
Or take a bus then. They don't have Greyhound? They have Greyhound where you live.
I was relying off of.
Do they have Greyhound?
Yes, sir.
So you did have a way to get there. Every excuse until I busted you, letting you know Greyhound. That's why I don't believe nothing you say. Let me hear from you, ma'am, about this breach of contract. What does this have to do with a child, $3,000?
So in 2017, June to be exact, we made an agreement that he was going to pay $200 to help with childcare for the child, and he hasn't paid anything on
What
it.
do you say to this, sir?
I never agreed to pay I would pay Missy anything.
See? And give me quiet. I tell people all the time, typically it's the young men. But now you as a woman are learning that same lesson. You should go through the government, the child support services, so that they can have a record of what is required and what has been paid. He pays them and they send the check to you. If he doesn't pay them, he gets a warrant. And they enforce it. If child support services aren't involved, there's no one to enforce it because you have no order from the court. So you're relying on his word. And then when you go in front of the judge and you say, Judge, he owes me, just like you're telling me. The person says, just like he's telling me. I never agreed to do that. Like I tell young men all the time. Well, Judge, I've been giving $200-300 a month ever since the child was born. Will you give me credit for that? No, Judge, that was a gift. You didn't give me a dime. That's what women say a lot. And now we have a man saying it. Same thing. Watch this. Did you get a child anything?
Yes, sir, I did.
See? What'd you give him? What'd you give him?
I was living off a fixed income.
What'd you give him?
I tried.
What'd you give
I
him?
did give him 200.
I didn't hear you.
I was giving her 200.
A month
Yes, sir.
on a fixed income? You're a good man. You're a great man. If you were on a fixed income and I was your judge, I would probably order you to pay $75 a month. Fixed income probably is what type? Social Security, pension?
That's
And you don't look like you worked all your life for a pension.
No, I never worked.
All right, you never worked. You have a physical challenge. Why haven't you ever worked?
Because I got in a car accident and it messed my back up.
Okay, how old?
Oh, I was a kid, like 13.
Okay, so you're on Social Security.
Yes, sir.
And that probably is no more than $10,000, $15,000 a year. $200 a month is too much for a person making that little. So once again, I don't even believe you could afford to give her $200 a month. Go ahead, ma'am. You say you're suing him for $200 he agreed to pay. He admits to agreeing, and he says he paid every month. So your counterclaim, sir, is $3,000 for emotional distress, and you've also asked, as we said, for a DNA test. Tell me how.
The reason was because she didn't let me see my son. She only let me see him for 5 minutes when she got out of jail, and that was it.
And what did you do to try and see him?
Well, I tried to make effort, but she didn't.
How? What'd you do?
I tried to see him by calling him, talking to him.
No, see him.
See him? I couldn't because she wouldn't let me know if she stayed out or nothing.
Well, how'd you call?
I couldn't.
You say you was to call.
No, I said I tried to call.
You tried to call and talk
Yes,
to
sir.
him.
Yes, sir. I tried to call.
So you had the number.
No, I had.
How could you try and call?
I tried to get the number from my mom and my brother.
Okay, you're telling me something different now. First you said you tried to call. Now, when I bust you and say, how could you not get in touch if you had the number? Then you shifted to my mama and them had the number. So why didn't you get it from mama?
I never said they had the number. I tried to get it, see if they had the number.
Why'd you go to mama and the brother?
Because she always bring my son to them instead of me.
Okay, and she had stopped bringing him? You don't know. You weren't interested enough in knowing.
No, sir. I was interested.
Why didn't you know? Why didn't you find out? Hey, mama, why did she stop?
That's the thing, Your Honor. I did ask my mom.
And what did she say?
She said she don't know.
She said she don't know.
But I have.
She didn't say. Did she say she didn't have her number?
She said she had after a point of a time, she did get in contact with Melissa.
And did you get the number after that?
She wouldn't allow me to call her.
You've told me 4 different stories. Your emotional distress is claiming that she kept you from the baby and you didn't want to see that baby. Let's see if he's the father of this baby. Even if you're the father, you're lying. Even if you're not the father, I've caught you in 4 lies. Some folks don't even have to lie. You're winning without lying.
God, my witness.
God is your witness. Yeah, God is your witness that you're the father. Get out of here. $3,000. Go to Child Support Services and get back pay from the time the child was born. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yours is dismissed.
I'm done.
That he is a fool.
Mikey, come on. You don't want to come to me
You
now?
can, go ahead.